Hello friends, welcome to the world of project management and for a overview session on Project Procurement Management Process, that is Plan Procurement Management. Motto of this training is to share my experience in preparing for PMP certification and have prepared few slides. Let's quickly move to our agenda for this session that we are going to discuss on what is Plan Procurement Management Process and its ITTOs. That is inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. Let's start here. It is the first process in the project procurement management knowledge area, and it is defined as the plan procurement management is the process of documenting the project procurement decisions, specifying the approach and identifying the potential sellers. And the key benefit of this process is that it determines whether to acquire the goods and services from outside the project, and if so, what to acquire as well as how and when to acquire it. Hope you understood about its definition and the key benefit of this process. Let's quickly go with its ITTOs. In inputs we have the project charter, the business documents, which contains the business case and the benefits management plan, and we have the project management plan, which contains the scope management plan, quality management plan, resource management plan, and scope baseline. And we have project documents, which consisting of the milestones, project team assignments, requirements documentation, requirements traceability matrix, resource requirements, risk register, and stakeholder register. And also we have EEFs and OPS, that is enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. And coming to the tools and techniques, we have expert judgment, data gathering techniques, which consisting of the market research, and we have data analysis technique, which contains the make or buy analysis, and we have the source selection analysis technique, and we have meetings. Coming to the outputs, we have the procurement management plan, which is an important one, and we have the procurement strategy, the bid documents, the procurement statement of work, source selection criteria, make or buy decisions, independent cost estimates, change request, and we have the project document updates also, which contains the lessons learned register, milestones list, requirements documentation, requirements traceability matrix, risk register, and stakeholder register. And also we have at last the organizational process assets updates. So these are the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs. Let's discuss each and every one in more detail. Let's start first with the inputs. In the inputs, first we have the project charter. What is project charter in this? The project charter contains the objectives, the project description, summary milestones, and the pre-approved financial resources. Hope you understood what is the project charter here. Let's move to the next input, the business documents, which consisting of the business case and the benefits management plan. Let me explain what are these, the business case and the benefits management plan. First with business case. Here the procurement strategy and the business case need to be aligned to ensure the business case remains valid. And coming to the benefits management plan, the benefits management plan describes when specific project benefits are expected to be available, which will drive the procurement dates and the contract language. Hope you understood what are the business documents. Moving to the next input, we have project management plan, which consisting of the scope management plan, quality management plan, resource management plan, and scope baseline. Let me explain one by one. First with scope management plan. The scope management plan describes how the scope of work by the contractors will be managed through the execution phase of the project. Moving to the quality management plan. The quality management plan contains the applicable industry standards and codes that the project is required to follow. And this information is used in bidding documents such as RFP, and that will eventually be referenced in the contract. Moving to the resource management plan. The resource management plan has the information on which resources will be purchased or leased, along with any assumptions or constraints that would influence the procurement. Moving to the scope baseline. As you know, the scope baseline contains the scope statement, work breakdown structure, and the work breakdown structure dictionary. That is, early in the project scope may still be evolving, and the elements of this scope that are known are used to develop the statement of work and the terms of reference. That is SOW, statement of work, and the terms of reference, that is TOR. Okay, hope you understood about this input. Let's move to the next input. We have the project documents, which contains the milestones list, the project team assignments, requirements documentation, requirements traceability matrix, resource requirements, risk registered, and stakeholder registered. Let me explain one by one. First, with milestones list. This list of major milestones shows when the sellers are required to deliver their results. Moving to the project team assignments. The project team assignments contains the information on the skills and abilities of the project team and their availability to support the procurement activities. Moving to the requirements documentation. Requirements documentation may include some technical requirements that the seller is required to satisfy and the requirements with contractual and legal implications that may include the health, safety, security, performance, environmental, insurance, intellectual property rights, equal or employment opportunity, licenses. We have permits, and it can include some non-technical requirements. So this requirements documentation include all of these items. Hope you understood this. Moving to the next one, requirements traceability matrix, RTM. The requirements traceability matrix links the product requirements from their origin to the deliverables that satisfies them. Hope you understood this. Moving to the resource requirement. Resource requirements contains the information on specific needs such as team and physical resources that may need to be acquired. Moving to the risk registered. The risk registered provides a list of risk along with the results of risk analysis and risk response planning. Some risks are transferred via a procurement agreement. Moving to the stakeholder registered. The stakeholder registered provides the details on the project participants and their interest in the project, that includes the regulatory agencies, contracting personnel, and the legal personnel. Hope you understood all of these inputs. Moving to the next input, we have the EEFs, that is enterprise environmental factors. In the EEFs, it may include the market conditions, the product, services, and results that are available in the marketplace. It may include the sellers, including their past performance or reputation, or it may include the legal advice regarding the procurements, or it may include the contract management systems that includes the procedures for contract change control. And also, it may include the established multi-tier supplier system of pre-qualified sellers that's based on prior experience, and also it can include the financial accounting and contract payment systems, etc. So all this has to be considered as part of the EFs. Hope you understood this input. Let's move to the next input, organizational process assets, that is OPAs. The organizational process assets may include the various types of contractual agreements used by the organization and also influence the decisions for the plan procurement management process. The organizational process assets that can influence the plan procurement management processes are: first, the pre-approved seller list, and second, formal procurement policies, procedures, and guidelines. Third is the contract types, and fourth is cost-reimbursable contracts, and fifth is time and material contracts, T&M. Okay, let me explain one by one what all this OPS includes. First, with pre-approved seller list. In this, the list of sellers that have been properly weighted can streamline the steps needed to advertise the opportunity and shorten the timeline for the seller selection process. Hope you understood this. Moving to the formal procurement policies, procedures, and guidelines. In this, as we know, most organizations have formal procurement policies and buying organizations. When such procurement support is not available, the project team should supply both the resources and the expertise to perform such procurement activities. Moving to the contract types. All legal contractual relationships generally fall into one of the two broad families. Either it's a fixed price or a cost reimbursable contract. Also, there is a third hybrid type commonly used called as the time and material contract, T&M. Okay, we will discuss all these contract types. First, we will discuss the fixed price contract. In this contract, the fixed price, the price is fixed for an agreed scope and the financial incentives to the seller if the seller exceeds the project objectives. And also, if the financial damages to the seller occurred if the seller does not meet the project objectives. And the changes in the scope shall be considered at an increase in price. So, this all 4 points need to be considered for the fixed price contract. And we have different types of fixed price contracts, that is FFP, firm fixed price, FPIF, fixed price intensive fee, FPEPA, that is fixed price with economic price adjustment. Let me give a short descriptions on these contract types of fixed price. Firm fixed price contract, that is FFP, price does not change unless a change in the scope. Second, fixed price intensive fee contracts, that is FPIF, financial intensive tied to achieving the certain project objectives related to cost, schedule or technical performance of the seller, and with a price ceiling is set and all the cost above the price ceiling are the responsibility of the seller. Hope you understood this. Moving to the fixed price with economics price adjustment, that is FPEPA. It's mainly used for the long-term contracts. In this, the provision for predefined final adjustments to the contract price due to the change conditions such as inflation changes or cost increases or decreases for specific commodities. Hope you understood about these fixed price contract types. Let's move to the next contract type, that is cost reimbursable contracts. What are cost reimbursable contracts? Let me explain. The payments based on the actual cost spent on the project plus a fee representing the seller profit is the cost reimbursable contract. And also it includes the flexibility for the scope changes, and it may include the financial incentives to the seller when the seller exceeds the performance targets on cost, schedule or technical performance. Okay, hope you understood what all includes in this cost reimbursable contracts. Let's go with the types of cost reimbursable contracts. We have CPFF, CPIF and CPAF. Let's go with one by one. First with CPFF, that is cost plus fixed price contract, in which the seller receives the actual cost plus fixed fee. That is, for example, a percentage of the initial estimated project cost. Moving to the CPIF, the cost plus intensive fee contracts. In this, the seller receives the actual cost plus incentive based on performance. That is, if the final costs are less or greater than the original cost, both the buyer and seller shared the cost based on a pre-negotiated cost sharing formula. Moving to the last one, CPAF, that is cost plus award fee contracts. In this, the seller is reimbursable of legitimate cost, but majority of the fee is earned based on the performance criteria in the contract. Okay, hope you understood about the types of cost reimbursable contracts also. Let's move to the next contract type, that is T&M, time and material contract. In this, the buyer pays a rate for the time spent working on the project, and also the buyer pays for all the materials used to do the work. Okay, and also we have one hybrid type which contains the accepts of both the cost reimbursable and the fixed price contracts. As I explained previously, it's often used for staff augmentation, acquisition of experts, and any outside support when a precise statement of work cannot be quickly prescribed. And also, in this contract type, a risk of cost increases to the buyer. Okay, let me summarize the contract types, the key concepts and the contract calculations. Let's start with price. What is price here? The amount the seller charges the buyer is the price, and the profit And the profit fee is that it is included in the price and falls into some reasonable margin, but may also be object of contract terms of seller's management abilities. Hope you understood what is profit fee here. Coming to the cost. How much an item costs the seller to create, develop or purchase, that is the cost. And a buyer's cost can include the seller cost and profit. Hope you understood this point. Moving to the target price. What is target price? This is the expected price when the final price is the end result. That is target cost plus target fee is equal to target price. Moving to the next key term, that is sharing ratio. What is sharing ratio? It describes how the savings or overruns will be distributed between the buyer or seller as expressed as a ratio. That is, for example, 90 by 10 or 80 by 10, etc. Moving to the next keyword here, ceiling price. What is ceiling price here? The highest price the buyer will pay is the ceiling price. That's mainly used to encourage the seller to control the cost. Okay, let's move to the PTA. What is PTA here? Point of total assumption. That is the amount above which the seller bears all the loss of cost overrun. That is point of total assumption, that is PTA. We have the formula PTA is equal to ceiling price minus target price divided by buyer share ratio plus target cost. Okay, fine. Hope you understood about all the inputs of the plan procurement management. Let's move to the tools and techniques. First, we will discuss the first technique, that is expert judgment. In this, the expertise should be considered from individuals or groups with some specialized knowledge or training in some areas, such as they has to be expertised in procurement and purchasing, and it may have knowledge on the contract types and contract documents, and mandate they has to expertise in the regulations and compliance topics. Moving to the next technique, we have the data gathering technique, which includes the market research, which is main important one. The market research includes the examination of the industry and the specific seller capabilities. This has to be precisely done, the market research. Hope you understood about this technique. Let's move to the next technique. We have data analysis technique, which consisting of make or buy analysis. Let me explain what is make or buy analysis. This analysis is mainly used to determine whether the work or deliverables can be best be accomplished by the project team or should be purchased from outside the sources. This analysis may include payback period, return on investment, internal rate of return, discounted cash flow, net present value, the benefit cost analysis, or any other techniques in order to decide whether to include something as part of the project or purchase it externally. Hope you understood what is make or buy analysis. Let's move to the next technique. We have source selection analysis. What is source selection analysis here? It's mainly used to review the prioritization of the competing demands for the project before deciding on the selection method. The most commonly used selection methods are the least cost and qualifications only, quality based or highest technical proposal score, or the quality and cost based, or the sole source, and the fixed budget. Hope you understood about this technique. Let's move to the next technique. We have meetings. In this, the meetings can use it to determine the strategy for managing and monitoring the procurement. Hope you understood about these meetings also. So we have completed all the tools and techniques of this plan procurement management. Let's move to its outputs in more detail. First with the procurement management plan. The procurement management plan contains the activities to be undertaken during this process, that is procurement process. It should document whether the international competitive bidding or the national competitive bidding or the local bidding, etc. should be done here. Okay, hope you understood what is procurement management plan. Let's move to the next output. We have procurement strategy. In this, once the make or buy analysis is complete and the decision is made to acquire from outside the project, a procurement strategy should be identified. The main objective of this procurement strategy is to determine the project delivery method, the type of legally binding agreements, and how the procurement will advance through the procurement phases. In this, we have the different delivery methods, contract payment types, procurement phases on this defined strategy. Hope you understood what is procurement strategy. Let's move to the next output. We have bid documents. The main use of these bid documents are used in soliciting information, quotations or proposal from prospective sellers. Before going to the types of bid documents, we will understand what is a bid, what is a price and what is a quotation or proposal. What is a bid? A bid is an offer of a price, especially at an auction. Coming to the price, quotations are solicited from prospective sellers of common or standard products or services. And coming to proposal, a proposal is generally used when other considerations such as technical capability or technical approach are the most important point there. Hope you understood what are the keywords in the bid documents. And let's move to the bid documents types. First is request for information, RFI. In this, we have more information needed from the sellers. Request for quotation, RFQ. It's mainly used how much it will cost. Moving to request for proposal, RFP. When there is a problem in the project and solution is not easy to determine. Okay, hope you understood this output. Let's move to the next output, procurement statement of work. What is procurement statement of work? The statement of work SOW for each procurement is developed from the project scope baseline and defines only that portion of the project scope that is to be included within the related contract. Hope you understood this output. Let's move to the next output, source selection criteria. In choosing evaluation criteria, the buyer seeks to ensure that the proposal selected will offer the best quality for the services required. The source selection criteria may include the capability and capacity, the product cost and life cycle cost, the delivery dates, or the technical expertise and approach, and some specific relevant experience. So hope you understood what is source selection criteria. Let's move to the next output, make or buy decisions. A make or buy decision results in a decision as to whether a particular work can be best to be accomplished by the project team or needs to be purchases from outside sources. Hope you understood about this output also, make or buy decisions. Let's move to the next output, independent cost estimates. What are independent cost estimates? For larger procurements, the procuring organization may elect to either prepare its own independent estimates or having a cost estimate prepared by an outside professional estimator to serve as a benchmark on proposed responses. Hope you understood this independent cost estimates. Moving to the next output, we have change request. As I explained earlier in my other sessions also, the all changes to any process has to go through the PICC area, that is perform integrated change control process. Okay, hope you understood about this change request. Let's move to the next output. We have project document updates. In the project document updates, we have the lessons learned registered, milestones list, requirement documentation, requirement traceability matrix, risk registered, and the stakeholder registered. Let me explain one by one. First with lessons learned registered. The lessons learned registered here is updated with any relevant lessons regarding the regulations and compliance, data gathering, data analysis, and source selection analysis. Coming to the milestones list. The list of major milestones shows when the sellers are expected to deliver their result. Coming to the requirements documentation. The requirement documentation may include the technical requirements that the seller is required to satisfy, or the requirements with contractual and legal implications that may include the health, safety, security, performance, environmental insurance, etc., and with some other requirements. Hope you understood what are requirement documentation. Moving to the requirement traceability matrix. In this requirements traceability matrix links the product requirements from either their origin to the deliverables that satisfy them. What is risk registered here? In risk registered, each approved seller comes with its own unique set of risk depending on the seller's organization, the duration of the contract, the external environment, the project delivery method, the type of contracting vehicle chosen, and the final agreed upon price. All these are updated in the risk register. Coming to the stakeholder register. The stakeholder register is updated with any additional information on the stakeholders, particularly regulatory agencies, contracting personnel, and legal personal documents. Hope you understood about this output also, the project document updates. Let's move to the next output, organizational process assets updates. The organizational process assets updates are updated as a result of the plan procurement management process that includes mainly the information on the qualified sellers. Okay, hope you understood about all the outputs of the plan procurement management. So we have completed all the ITTOs here, that is first with inputs, tools and techniques, and last with outputs. This completes the first process on the project procurement management knowledge area, and hope this complete session is easy and understandable for you. Fine. Let's discuss more detail on the next process in the project procurement management, that is conduct procurements, in the next video. Kindly provide your feedback on the given email ID. If you like this video, kindly subscribe my channel and share with your friends. Bye for now. It's your Anil Kumar Dharam.